up for a challenge? How about this? Anything you can do, I can do faster. Okay, bro. I'm gnarlier than you. I get more sideways. I'm louder. Much louder. I get wilder than you. You sure about that, bro?
Harder.
Slicker.
Cooler.
Tougher.
Let's go.
So what you got?
This is a special presentation of DIRTVision, bringing you the pinnacle of dirt track racing. Led by Roll of Outlaws sprints and late models. We also have the Super Dirt Car Series, Extreme Outlaw Midgets, American Sprint Car Series, and Dirt Car Summer Nationals. Plus, weekly racing and special events at America's premier racetracks. The best drivers, the best coverage. DIRTVision is home to the greatest shows on dirt.
And welcome to the Knoxville Nationals pre-race show presented by... Who am I presented by? Midwest Sanitation. Holy mackerel. And I didn't even drink last night.
Yeah, me neither.
It's because I'm a little waterlogged today from this weather. That's what it is. Glad to have you all with us. Glad to have all of you fans here that have stuck it out this afternoon and have been wondering. I bet I've been asked 1,017 times what we're doing tonight, and I keep telling them, well, we're going to race at some point. It might be 3 in the morning, but we're going to race. So glad you all stuck it out. Glad you're here with us this afternoon. Carson McCarl joining Dom and I here today. Carson, good to see you.
Well, it's great to see you. I'm glad huge crowd I've drawn here, so I'm really glad all the people came out to see me.
I was just going to say, what is the cost of getting a couple people to clap when they call your name?
I tell you
what. And Dominic Selzy.
They were clapping.
Nothing.
They just got their order at the Hawaiian Grill.
Oh, see, on cue.
Hey,
on cue.
right.
Now, we need this group over here in front of the slide job bar on cue. We need you to clap.
To the right.
Your safe word is, and your cue to clap is, isn't it great? Yeah, there you go. See, perfect. Okay, we got this figured out.
I love a studio audience.
So, Carson, Friday night, not where you wanted to be tonight.
No, I always agree to do this on Friday as motivation. Like, I'm not going to have anything to do today. I might as well, but no, I got to work instead, which right now it's not looking super great. You know, I've heard some rumors about possibly a day show or something tomorrow if we can't get it in, which I know you're not a fan of, but right. I kind of want to. Spending a whole day racing, I think that'd be kind of fun.
Well, I like the whole day racing concept. It's just day shows typically aren't great.
No, but right? I also drew 92, so if I got which actually for tonight might not be that
bad.
Might
not be bad.
That might be perfect, but so if we got a redo of that wouldn't be bad.
I genuinely didn't know they went that high.
I didn't know either. When we drew, she was like, "Oh, I'm sorry," and I was like, "For what?"
Oh, wow.
And she turns it around, and I was like, "Oh God!" But I thought like 75 was the highest it went, but that's okay. Had some bad luck last night, but. I am glad that the Friday night portion exists and we get to try again.
So yesterday during our show, there was lots of talk about packing the bottom. And I'll be darned if we didn't pack the bottom yesterday afternoon. Do you think the bottom of the racetrack was better than what we've seen the first few nights?
Oh, I think it's definitely been better than we've seen the last few years. Just at the Nationals, I always, a lot of guys talk about wanting to race here weekly to get ready for the Nationals. But during the Nationals, the track is usually so much different than it is on a weekly show. And the last few years, the bottom's been so kind of greasy, there's kind of, which I get why they're doing it. They're trying to make it good for later in the night. But as a guy that likes to run the bottom quite a bit, it's kind of, you switch and swash around there. It's not a lot of fun. So I like how it was usable early in the night.
I always thought that we should maybe once or twice during the Nationals, maybe 3 nights during the Nationals, we bring out some West Coast program and we try and get the thing dug deep. Water it big time, get some holes. That way you guys got to work out there. What are your thoughts and opinions on that?
Oh my God, you West Coast guys. It's easy to hit a curve when you're going 65. Try doing it at 120.
That's why I ran the bottom here.
So you got to go tonight, not what you wanted to do, but you guys had a little adversity. You said you were up till 4 a.m. building the car today.
Yeah, got in a little snafu last night. Junked the car, motor plate forward pretty much. She's going to need a new clip, so... me and my boys went back to the shop last night. The car was pretty much ready to go. I just need to throw an engine in it, put a tank on, some, minor little stuff that I robbed on for this car. But it's a car we've ran here a bunch this year. It's all good equipment and everything, so we should be just fine.
percentage-wise, how much did your smoking hot wife build the car versus you?
Oh, I don't know. I would say 90. I kind of just sit there and do laundry and, watch her work on the car.
I'm glad your laundry machine works.
Thanks.
That landlord of yours, he's a questionable guy.
Wow. I'm not sure where to go after. Isn't it great? Yeah, okay, they remember.
We could story. We could story tell.
I don't have much. The last couple of weeks have not gone great. So yeah, we can just go down memory lane. I don't have a whole lot to talk about. I was really hoping I'd lock it in and we could talk about how great I did last night. Pull some last lap thing like Sheldon did. I'd be an absolute superstar. Place be packed, but that's okay.
What's it like being a car owner? Let's start there.
It sucks.
Now hang on. Isn't it great to be a car owner, Carson?
It's great.
See, they got it. You got it.
When you win and get to keep all the money, that's nice. But when you junk a car, it's not that fun. But honestly, for whatever reason, I was in a different car at the beginning of the year, and I don't know why. I seem to always do better in my car. Not saying my stuff's any better than anybody else's, but just for some reason, I'm more comfortable and more confident being in a car that I own, and that I built and everything like that.
All you guys, all you McCarls, are really hands-on when it comes to sprint car stuff. And like your dad, your brother, yourself, all you guys are pretty mechanically inclined. You guys are also really good at, Tuesdays or Mondays when you guys go to Monterey?
That's more of a Monday thing.
Is it a Monday thing?
Yeah, but you gotta do good Saturday and Sunday up at Houston so you can earn your Monday.
Man, I tell you what, I always used to have fun when I lived here too. I got to sleep in your guys' basement like 20 different times. And, all the little family portraits I think I still have one of your childhood pictures that I took home with me. So I always had a lot of fun with you guys. And, it's just kind of crazy, a racing family, coming from a racing family, seeing you guys, how all three of you McCarls are equally messed up in your own special ways. And I've always admired that about you guys.
Like Peyton's dad, Craig, it gives me credit.
Most beautiful man in motorsports.
I tell you what. Always give me credit for working on the car and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, well, guys, I don't necessarily want to. I just can't afford to hire anybody else to do it. So my dad's always trying to get me to work on his stuff. And I'm like, I don't even want to work on mine. I want to go golfing like Austin does. But Austin's lucky enough now. He's got a couple crew guys and, a legit crew chief and everything. He doesn't have to do quite as much as he used to. But I don't know. It's just the way we do it.
Does Scotty keep Tasty Tacos in business here? I imagine he'd be frequenting that place.
Probably. Scotty's also, he might as well be the weatherman. I mean, if we want to know if we're going to race tonight, give Scotty Martin a call. I mean, the guy, he's it goes.
Did you want to give them all his phone numbers so they can all do that?
It goes Reed Timmer, Scotty Martin. The guy is a meteorologist genius.
All right, let's bring this back here just a second. No, I'm just
going
kidding.
off the rails here.
I wanted to know about your pedicures.
Oh, well, that's
Dom. We're going to the straight and narrow.
That's all Dom. Dom said if he races here next year, he needs some tire money, so he's going to sell some pictures of his feet. So, and I've been to the beach with him. The man has beautiful feet, excellent toenails. I mean, the hygiene on this guy is unmatched.
Yeah, from the ankle down, I am a supermodel. Oh, let me tell you what. When you start getting north of that, it gets rough the farther north you go.
No, you're sexy. Don't you worry about it.
That's what I tell myself every morning in the mirror.
I heard a rumor Dom's going to race here weekly next year.
Yeah, I started it yesterday.
That's what I'm hearing.
That's the rumor. So some lady called me to drive a 27 car, and we're going to see how it works out. I've already got living organized. I'm going to live in the basement, so I'm dialed in.
So a few years ago, Dom was racing Lundstra's car up at Houston's every week. And me, him, and Austin, we finished on the podium like 3 weeks in a row. And we're hanging out afterwards. And Dom's like, hey, I got a great idea. Let's me and you, let's WWE it up, on the front straightaway after the race. Let's pretend to get in a fight or, something like that. And I was like, absolutely not. He's like, why not? And I'm like, because everybody loves you too much. No matter, I was like, you could punch my wife in the face and the whole crowd would be like, she deserved it.
That's word for word what he said, too.
I was like, absolutely not. No way.
Oh,
I would be heel no matter what.
That's funny.
Yeah, you know what? I think, honestly, the entire time of racing out of California, the most fun I ever had was with these guys. I always looked forward to whenever I would make it to Monterey, is what they'd call it. Where is your dad?
He's around here somewhere. He's at the t-shirt trailer. He's got a Sharpie on him somewhere over there.
That cheap SOB, he keeps getting out of buying me Applebee's. 4 times in a row throughout our escapades, over the last couple of years, I've bought at Applebee's, and he's nowhere to be found when the ticket comes. I don't know what's going on.
Well, if this thing rains out, we'll go to Altoona, get a perfect margarita. It'll be awesome.
Oh, we'll catch up.
I'm sure
you're going out late. You got time to sober up. Let's get after
I suppose. Yeah, I mean, I got my NOS here. It's got 50 grams of sugar.
That's
we'll be
the best one.
I know, because it's a pixie stick. But
I mean, maybe you should drink a few more. It worked pretty good for Sheldon.
Hey, all right. I'll give it a shot.
It's always fun, like, when you kind of know everybody when you race a bunch, but when you get personalities like this.
Did you actually live in their basement?
I didn't live there. I mean, I think most of the time they didn't know I was down there, but I was down there. I keep remembering a race car bed. Did you guys have a race car bed down there? Did I make that up?
Yeah.
You did?
No.
No? Okay.
Like 9?
I do remember
I
one
also
time.
don't live in my parents' basement anymore. I'm 31 years old, Dom.
I remember staying in the basement a couple different times and beautiful family portraits. I remember that vividly. I also remember there were some times that on Tuesday morning, I'd have to make some apology phone calls. You got to do those from time to time.
You'll have that. Sorry, I had a wireless mic there for a second. I kind of forgot there was a crowd here. I thought we were just talking to ourselves for a little bit. I mean, you'll have that. The margaritas get flowing. When they start changing colors, that's not good. They'll have the green ones, then all of a sudden they'll be like, "Oh, Teddy, this one was for you," and it's orange, and you're not going to feel good the next day.
Then they just get clear. I don't know what happened, which picture that is, but the color definitely changes throughout the night, and the whole time.
I've never stayed at the Monterey that long that the margaritas changed colors.
That's because they have it sectioned off for the McCarl crew. Like, it's like 20 people, and there's 30 margarita pitchers, and it's just like, here, drink.
My deal is they usually say, "You've had 7 baskets of chips. Time to go, dude."
That's fair. It happens to the best of us. It was always a good time. And then, actually, when his brother came out to California and drove, was it the Tarleton car?
Either that or the Roth car.
One of them. We hung out a bunch, but I kind of, for a while there, I was a ride broker for him. I got him like 30 different rides in California.
Yes, Dom was my agent for quad. That actually is true. Basically, any car that would call Dom that he thought wasn't good enough for him, he'd call me and be like, "Hey, man, you want to drive this hunk of junk?" And I'd be like, "Yeah, I'll come out there and do it. I don't care." Got me like 3 rides, though. It was pretty good.
He did a great job.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Went to Antioch, got me one at Watsonville once. Almost got me a ride at Tulare, but that's okay.
All fantastic facilities.
I mean, put me in
Antioch, did you have your wallet after that night or no? Did you?
I didn't have my car, but I still had my wallet.
I don't know how to follow this up. Isn't it great?
I kind of forgot this is a pre-race show. There's people tuning in on DIRTVision.
Well,
They're like,
it's probably going to be the last one.
Let's get some info on the weather and what the track's going to do tonight, and we're sitting here talking about margaritas in Antioch.
That's okay.
Yeah,
we want these people to know who the real Carson McCarl
Well, yeah,
is.
we're
That's
just
what
trying
we
to put
want.
on a show here. We're just entertainers at the end of the day.
I think really as a fan, like anybody that's actually here and listening or at home, pick your drivers not off their finish, but off their personality. And you're going to find very few people that have a personality like this. I mean, he is just hilarious. There's a few drivers projects. When he stopped doing it, like, how much does it cost to get you back on the show? Like,
I'm just laughing at you. Like, hey, guys, if you want a 12th place driver, but he's really
is your
cool to
guy.
hang out with, this is your guy right
if
here.
you want a 14th place guy, you call me on my good nights. But no, he's just hilarious. Like, David Gravel's awesome. Carson Macedo's awesome. All these guys are great, and they sell a lot of merchandise. But you start finding the gems when they're not the most famous guys out there. And I mean, I fell in love from your eyes. The first time I saw you. But, gosh, you're so fun. You're always in a great mood. Complete polar opposite of your dad. Your dad's so mean, always forcing drinks down my throat and whatever else. But
I know.
a lot of fun.
I tell you what. And then you got Austin. I mean, who likes that guy? I mean,
Nobody.
I mean, I
Not
thought
even Scotty. Scotty didn't even like it.
I have to tell Austin will do these interviews all the time, and I'm like, you don't have to be so open. You can, hold it back a little bit. You don't have to say every single thing you're thinking.
Don't even hijack this show.
I'm going to go sit out here with these people that I don't know, but they'll be my friends here pretty quick. So.
Isn't it great?
Thank you, Midwest Sanitation. Well, we'll just take it from here.
Yeah.
We'll be right back.
All these notes that I have, if y'all want to frame them, they'll make a great collectible from the Nationals because we're not going to use them here. No, it's great. Because you're right, Dom. It's all about finding a guy that you like to cheer for and that goes out and is competitive and all those things. But it really is about finding a driver or a favorite that's just a pretty funny guy or cool to be around. And because, somebody says, well, why do you like him? Well, I don't know. He runs pretty good now and then. Oh, really? That's it? But
there's some amazing personalities in the sport. And, they're really cool guys. And I
mean, Dennis Moore Jr. is a prime example, right?
Animal.
Funniest guy ever.
I agree.
I mean,
He's a legend.
someday when we have a Dennis Moore Jr. storytelling time, we'll have all kinds of great stories.
You're
think
going to
that
need
one
a
would have to be
35-minute segment for sure. He doesn't get the story. He doesn't land the plane super well. But
Before we do let you go, I would like to talk a sliver
go.
of racing.
All right.
Obviously, you tried your best last night, which is great. I'm proud of you for that. Try a little harder tonight.
Yeah.
But last year, you had a pretty good season with the 410 in your own car.
Yeah.
Obviously, this hasn't been your season, but talk about the differences of like, hey, we've come off a really good season. We've got momentum. Things are going our way. And then having that lull. That's a hard thing to get through as a driver. What are you doing to just stay motivated and try and build through this to next year?
honestly, just trying to pull a tear off and forget about it. And, going into the Nationals, I was like, well, it's a perfect time to turn it around, make some money, sell some merch, and get people excited. We've seen it time and time again where guys aren't having the greatest season, and they go out and put on a show at the Nationals, and it really sets them up for getting a ride or a sponsor for next year. So I'm glad we do have tonight. And, I got nothing to lose. We tore up my favorite car last night, so I just, I'm either going to put on a show and hopefully make this thing or bring it in on the hook, all working Woody over there. So, but no, it is, my confidence isn't super down, it's just been little stuff, we're kind of down on motors at the beginning of the year. And, it was just I just put myself in a really bad spot at the beginning of the year and just been kind of slowly digging our way out. But we have had moments where we've qualified really well. I've always been a good qualifier here. And, we've had some moments where we were pretty good. I gotta get better mechanicking, that's such big these days, That's what my goal for next year is to get, a real legit crew chief. I've seen what it's done for Austin. I've seen what it's done for other drivers. You see when drivers have a really good crew chief and they leave and all of a sudden they're not quite as fast anymore, So just to get someone that has a different mentality that I do to bounce ideas off of. I'm kind of the definition of insanity all the time with the setup. I'm like, okay, well, I know this is going to work pretty good. I'll just drive better tonight, or whatever. And so just been making some stupid mistakes with the car, getting myself too tight. But, for tonight, we'll just hopefully not make that mistake. And if we do race tonight, you're definitely not going to want to be too tight. It's going to be a free it up type of night. So, and just give it my all.
Well, he knows how to win here. In all seriousness, he's a two-time 360 track champion here. He's won 7 times here. The 410 win here. So good luck tonight. Don't bring it in on Working Woody.
No. Hopefully bring it in on at the press conference tonight. That'd be the way to do it. That's our goal.
Carson McCarl, ladies and
guys.
gentlemen. Isn't he great? When we come back for the next segment of the show, it's going to get much crazier because his brother is going to be here. Gio Scelzi will join us next on the pre-race show.
It's ARP Fasteners for whatever you race. From 2 wheels to 4. Off-road, on-road, even water. From the flat track to the salt flats. Grassroots racers, weekend warriors, and pros alike trust ARP. Made in America quality, family-owned and operated. When failure is not an option, it's ARP-Bolts.com. No matter what you race.
Trackwear, streetwear, workwear. No matter where you are, be race ready. Clothing brand built for fans, drivers, and crews.
We're on. Well, welcome back to the pre-race show here at the Knoxville Raceway, brought to you by Midwest Sanitation. I remembered this time.
There we go.
Gio Scelzi joins us here for our next segment. Gio, good to have you here. Now, I'm just going to warn you, the first segment, we just about flipped her off. We had the wing all the way back in the first one, so I don't know what we got here for the second one.
We'll keep it PG. We probably ought to start with Wednesday. What a great job on Wednesday night. You guys were solid. What are you doing tonight?
Gonna try to race, hopefully a better showing than Wednesday, but the weather's not making me too excited, as all you guys are probably not either. But yeah, you just kind of got to put it out of your mind and just another night.
Well, I'll take the lead on this one because I'm supposed to beat up on you a little bit. But talk about the new team. I mean, you were with KCP for quite a while. You guys have had a lot of success here. You nationally had a lot of success, and then a complete change of pace last year, going to the 7BC and now Spire. What's that like, jumping from car to car to car, and how difficult is that to get yourself comfortable when you're going into new organizations?
Yeah, I mean, getting in Tyler's car, knowing there was really no long-term goal there, right? You were going to get out of the car as soon as Tyler got healthy, and lucky that the time frame worked out where I could finish the entire year and run for points with those guys and do the best job I could. And it got to the point where I felt like, not taking the blame, but I feel like the more we kind of got the car comfortable for me, probably the further it was comfortable for Tyler, and they started the year struggling. But
that's good. Abuse the competition.
Yeah, right, exactly. It was a whole strategy. But no, I mean, working with Jake and Ron and Bob at the time was a lot of fun, and they were pretty down in the dumps whenever Tyler got hurt, and felt like I got close with them, and being them sponsored by Spire and my team being owned by Spire is a cool kind of organization we have now, with kind of being halfway teammates. But weird environment a little bit last year, like I said, knowing you're not going to be in that car for any long term. But when Spire thing come about and knew we were going to be kind of halfway teammates, it definitely helped the transition a lot.
So, I mean, when you build a new team, I guess people don't necessarily expect that you're going to be right out of the gate and win, but you were so close so many nights, and then to finally get that win. From a crew's perspective, how big of a motivator was that for them?
Yeah, it was huge. I mean, they, all these guys out here, whether you run 20th in the D main or you win the Knoxville Nationals, they're all doing the same amount of work, right? So, starting the year in Talladega, which was initially going to be Volusia, we weren't quite ready in time, and went to Talladega and was a complete disaster, to be honest with you. I mean, I think we barely made it through the heat race and changed everything but the kitchen sink every time we hit the racetrack, and the next show was a point show in Vegas. So, not the highest of confidence, ended up leading some laps Vegas and running third in the feature. So, yeah, I mean, building a team from scratch, right? Like, normally when you go to a team, they're established already. You might change wings or shocks or something small. But in November last year, there was a semi sitting there and 4 frames on the ground. So wow. I was doubting it a bit there in late December, early January, and parts start showing up, and you got boxes everywhere, and you kind of start digging in and getting ready from the mule being new to, you don't have tools, you don't have benches, you have nothing essentially to build an entire race team from scratch.
Has it been harder than you thought?
Well, luckily, I don't have to do a lot of the work. But no, I mean, the amount of time that Cole and Eric and now Kinzer have put into it is amazing, really. And for us, knock on wood, did not have really any kind of dumb failures or things we forgot to tighten or not been fully prepared. And a lot of things have gone our way, right? Like, we've blown up a handful of engines, and they've happened at, I guess, the good time for an engine to blow up. They've happened in hot laps where we can still qualify, like at Port Royal. So we've gotten lucky a lot, and things have really kind of fallen our way until Wednesday showed up.
You've been really close to winning a lot of big races, and it seems like, obviously a few weeks ago you won your first, what I would consider a crown jewel. Yep. Run second here at the Nationals. Does it feel like it's maybe not easier, but a little bit of relief of getting really your second big win, but your first 6-digit payday? Does that feel like, okay, I can be in position to win more of these? And did you learn something from that you think you can equate out to running better at races like the Nationals or the Kings Royal?
I think the biggest thing is a lot of the big paying races are longer races, right? So you have Nationals is 50 laps, Tusky 50 is 50 laps with a break in between, and the Weikert was 40 laps with a break in between. So those races definitely change how you set the race car up, kind of how you look at the whole night. The formats are always goofy, so there's an invert in the heat races. Normally there's redraws, there's not dashes like we normally race on a weekly basis. But yes and no. I mean, you try to treat every race the same, right? I mean, you race the format as hard as you can, and like we all say, the heat race on your prelim here is the most important part of the whole week, no matter really where you qualify. So it was very cool to win that race. That was a great first one to win, but at the same time, we were close in Vegas. We ran second at Arizona. We had some really good runs, third at the Kings Royal. So putting yourself in position, and a lot of that stuff is luck at those big shows, like I said, with the format. So it doesn't really feel much different. I just think the length of those big races are what affects it the most.
So with a sponsorship like Chili's, what a cool sponsorship to have. It's great that they're involved in the sprint car community now. But I really have to know. I know what your order is, and I know what you get every single time you go there. But where is the card that you can get free margaritas? Because I have been waiting, and I've been told that it's coming, and it's in the mail, and you're sending it. But every week without fail, I'm at Chili's, and every week without fail, I'm running them out of margaritas. Like, what is it going to take for me to get a little bit of something here? I don't even get a hat anymore. Like, what's the deal?
It is very cool. I mean, when that word kind of came to me and we realized we're going to have Chili's in the car full time for the year, it's I feel like we both have, die casts of whatever company, Bass Pro Shops or Old Spice. You have those huge corporate companies that were on sprint cars, whether it's from Tony Stewart's team or Casey Kane Racing has had a lot of big sponsors like a Napa now or DirecTV, Great Clips. Like, to have those corporate sponsors on, which not really what you see a lot in sprint car racing, I feel like it's growing and growing, but to have a sponsor like that is very cool, and to be able to make merchandise and hats or whatever you get to make. And just, we were able to tour the Brinker International facility in Dallas, Texas, which was amazing to see a business that's that big, $1 billion corporation, kind of how it works, and get the crash course on it was very, very cool.
What is the order for you at Chili's?
It changes. I've been on the big QP kick, so the burgers are really good, and the margaritas to go with it. Not yet today, but after.
Well, before he was a grown man, It was always the Cajun chicken pasta with like nothing on it, and he would eat the crap out of it. I'll tell you what, like, it's actually kind of a match made in heaven, because for a while there, when he was in like third grade for the second or third time, we would go to Chili's after school all the time. So it's kind of wild now that he's sponsored by him, but I'm still keeping him in business. So,
what's your order there?
Whatever they'll give me.
Oh,
Cheryl, Fresno Chili's, how are you? Miss you. See you on next Friday.
Do you have a card that says "I'm Gio's brother"?
A buddy of mine, we go quite a bit to Chili's now, and I try to make it as often as I can. And every time I go in there, like, we have the same waitress. She's an old lady, and I'm like, my brother works at Chili's. And she's like, yeah, you say that every time you're here. Every single time I say the same thing.
That's great.
She has no idea who he is or anything about sprint car racing, but I'm like, my brother works at Chili's.
So, what do you think about your chances tonight with the track? It's going to be super wet, right? It's actually cooling down quite nicely, finally. It doesn't feel like the middle of the rainforest anymore. So, what do you think about your chances here tonight with the track that we're going to have?
I feel like it's always a crapshoot, right? I mean, everyone yesterday was kind of saying how fast the track was going to be, and it slowed down a bunch in qualifying and was probably one of the best tracks they've had all year, I feel like, with a really narrow bottom, a bit of a middle in the top, way up high. So as much equipment as they have here and the experience the Duncan family has with doing the racetrack, I'm not worried about a wide racing surface. So I feel like obviously it needs to stop raining fully, and we need to get the racetrack run in to where if it does rain again, we have something to kind of pack back in.
Yeah, I think the tracks we've had since the start of the 360 Nationals this year have been pretty on par come feature time.
Yeah, no doubt. I think Cappy was probably the best track all year, with 87 cars running in this. This racetrack loves humidity and a high dew point, so we have both of those things in our favor today.
So, we got dog food today for Maggie, and Colin Camp, the hardware department manager at Menards, he did a great job today, so I had to give him a shout out. He's a big fan of me. I hadn't heard of you yet, but the next time you're in Menards, make sure you stop in and chat him up. He was actually talking about he runs into Ripper all the time and talks to Ripper. So, yeah, you. Colin, he said hi. Or Colton, not Colin, Colton.
I don't know how to follow that.
I just remembered I had to give him a shout out. He's like, I watched you yesterday on Tony's show. I'm like, I'll give you a shout out.
Hey, all right. Real quick before we go, tell us about the paint scheme this week. Different paint scheme.
Yeah, so we had a couple designs done there late July, and it's so hard, right? We all say how difficult it is to get done. Again, I'm not doing any of the work, but for the guys to get body panels and a new body, wings, 2 wings, fuel cells, nose wings, I love it, honestly. We had a couple different designs, but this one's the same design, obviously just colors flipped around. So cool helmet, cool suit. It's always fun putting someone fresh for the hot and sweaty Nationals.
Well, good luck this weekend. We look forward to seeing you right up front.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
Gio Scelzi, ladies and gentlemen, give a round of applause. We'll take another quick break, and when we come back, Tanner Holmes will join us here on the pre-race show.
Want more wins? Here's some tips. Brake late with our powerful titanium piston brake kits featuring our VRT Max rotor and all titanium hardware. Stay on track with the lightest, strongest, and safest rear torsion arm ever made in our exclusive AccuLength W-Link. Hold it all together with our huge selection of high-strength precision titanium fasteners boxed up custom for your car in part-labeled bags. Make the decision for precision. Smith Titanium. We winnovate.
At Pit Boss Jack's, we put in the work in the shop so you can put in your work at the track. Engineering, speed, durability. Pit Boss Jack's, like a boss.
There's a moment behind the wheel of what I've built, where power overrides gravity, and I hit that zero moment. Zero doubts, zero fear, zero competition. No rule or mold I can't break. And limits, absolutely zero. And there's a Knox Zero sugar to get me there.
And welcome back to the Knoxville Nationals pre-race show, brought to you by Midwest Sanitation. Tanner Holmes joining us. Tanner, thanks for joining us here today.
Yeah, totally, man. Hopefully we get some racing in tonight. I know the weather's been a little gloomy, but we'll give it what we got.
So let's back up a little bit since you've been around here the last couple weeks. You spent a little time at the Pella Corporation. Tell us about that and what that was like for you.
Yeah, totally. You know, not being from this state, not being from Iowa, right? Like, I did not know a whole lot about Pella. I'd obviously seen it on the 13 car and a couple other cars throughout the years, but actually, like, getting to meet the people there and then go and see, you know, I think they said there was like 2,000 employees in this, I call it like it's like a machine. Literally, like, they have all these different sections, and so many of the people had worked there 20, 30, 40 years. So you could just tell right away there was like that chemistry and all these things that we would almost look for in our race team, right? And like building something successful, they had there. So it was kind of neat, just like full circle to see that kind of.
Having grown up in Pella, I find myself sometimes when I'm traveling, I'll see a new house going up and I'll be like, oh, there's Pella windows because of the sticker, right?
For sure.
Very recognizable.
Yeah, no, and I learned that, so they have a section there where the guys that just test the windows, like they put them through a hurricane simulator, make sure they don't leak, they break them, and so there was actually like a button, I got to press it and I broke a window. So now if racing don't work out, I can break windows at Pella, and that would be a totally fun job.
There you go.
I was blown away with the reach that they have. My parents moved into their home in 2020, and it's Pella door and window.
Yeah.
And all their locks and their handles, you got to like flip them up.
Totally.
And I'm like, what the heck? And then I'm a big watch guy. I always collected watches. The first time I went to Pella, I bought this old Lord Elgin watch, and it was stamped on the back 30 years from the company. What was it called before? It was Pella.
Roll Screen.
Yes. And I'm like, what is this company? And he goes, well, it's Pella door and window.
Oh, wow.
Started telling us the history of the company and how amazing. Like there's companies like Coline here or Pella and all what's down the street, Weiler. These huge corporations. And when you look at their employees, they're diehard race fans.
Totally.
They're in this sport, and it's great to see companies like that supporting our sport. It's amazing.
Totally. No, it's huge. I know I just heard for a second you guys were talking about Chili's and Geo and stuff. And like, we need these companies to be investing, and also whether it's having the people at the top or their employees, it's something fun for them to do. It's really important for like our ecosystem to go in a circle. Without partners, obviously, we don't get to do this. So yeah, for these companies to be able to put a little bit of money in it, it's nice for all of us.
Do people come up to you and say, hey, I work at Pella? Or
oh gosh,
like
it's been crazy. Like I said, that's the thing I did not expect. And again, every single person, I've not had someone that said I just started working there. It's like 20 to 40 years, and it's nuts. And everyone has had nothing but good things to say. So it's cool to see, like, you know, in this day and age, like, you know, a company that really takes care of their people and have like really positive things to say about it.
Yeah, that's great.
Seems like everybody nowadays has a YouTube channel.
Yeah.
And that was not the original plan. Like, that's been copied from you. You were the original pioneer in this. And I remember when you were really young and you kind of started out and stuff, where you've taken that's amazing, but how you've handled your race team's amazing as well. How did you bridge that to handling your sponsors, and now as a hired driver handling sponsors? What is the mindset there?
Yeah, it's definitely difficult, or was difficult, you know, and how to navigate, especially, you know, the world's changed so much where now there's so many eyes on all of us, right? And social media has changed. You know, you talk about what maybe happened here at Knoxville 25 years ago. We didn't get to see it because it wasn't posted everywhere, and now it is. And so it's just really important, like, as a young kid, I didn't know it at the time, but I knew it was going to be important to document some of our stuff and maybe create, you know, a different avenue for more partners, or to bring money in for me to race. You know, I had good support from my parents and whatnot, but I really wanted to, you know, build something that could be more than just me as a race car driver. And again, I didn't know that at the time, but I was able to start putting that together. And yeah, it's just been an awesome journey. I mean, basically every night it's going to be 10 years next month, is online. I mean, there might be, I think there's maybe less than 5 nights not out there. And some of that was like, footage got corrupt or something happened. But you can basically watch all the good and the bad nights, or the nights where, I mean, there's a few in there I honestly wanted to quit. Like, you know what I mean? And I'll kind of say that because it's that tough. Like, you know, this sport will just beat you down. But then there's the nights that like you cannot replace, like the feeling, the win, you know, like us winning with High Limit this year, or even winning an ARC show. Like, that stuff's cool, and you'll never forget that stuff.
I think from my perspective, what makes your YouTube stuff so genuine is you also go out there when you have a bad night.
Yeah.
You don't like only put out the good stuff, right? Like, oh, every night's good, and then we don't see you for a night or two because something bad happened.
Yeah, no, and I think authenticity in this world right now, because I mean, right, everything we see is a highlight reel of everyone's life, and it's all the good stuff. And so, again, maybe when I started that wasn't intentional. Now as I'm older, I realize like that's really important, but we just tried to do that, and I think a lot of that came from, you know, my parents and the people around me, right? Like, that's just kind of what we did. And yeah, and again, I think it also allowed for partners and people to gravitate and want to be a part of it, which then like helped me run my 18T for a long time and allow me to compete on a national stage. And, you know, in my opinion, like, we didn't have any crazy wild success in the sense of really building the operation to where I maybe wanted it to be one day, but it you know, I didn't know where my story was going to go to maybe get an opportunity or get some rides. And I just was trying and doing the best we could at the time, and everything kind of worked out to this point.
It really is incredible, your story and kind of your pathway, because, you know, I do remember meeting you at a young age, and then I did your show, and I think I was still pretty young, and now when you look back on it, like, there's nights where I can't sleep, and I will watch, like, hey, 2018 or something, and you're racing in Skagit, or like when you ran second to Trey at the Skagit National, or the what is that, Summer National?
Yes.
And your first NARC win, and all these things, and then it's like, now, like, that I know you, like, hey, I was at this race, or oh, I remember that.
Yeah.
And now being a professional race car driver, having won a national event on a national tour, it's just got to feel surreal sometimes, doesn't it?
No, totally. And I think it's really important, like, in this lifestyle, you have to, you know, not even just for me having a channel, but like all of us to just reflect, because all you remember is your last race. I know, you know, as a driver, like, you get so caught up in what you're doing, but man, it really has been an incredible journey. And I just think of so many people in my career that helped me get here. You know, maybe I wouldn't be in this spot if Bobby Allen a couple years ago at the Nationals didn't give me an opportunity, or, you know, little Tommy Tarleton told, you know, Big Tommy to maybe hire me, or, you know, all these situations that, like, again, like, so maybe if I didn't put those videos out, maybe little Tommy would have never said anything, and then I'm not in the you know what I mean? There's just all these things that connect in all of our careers that are so important. And you know, my story happens to be a little bit unique in that way, but just really happy that that's how that went. And that was kind of the goal. You know, I didn't know how it was going to be a tool. I just knew that having a channel and maybe having the content was going to help me, and just tried to push as hard as I could, as well as be a good driver, and hope it would work out.
What's it been like having your sister working on another team and not yours?
It is different. It is. And it's been, it's worked out that we've been on 2 different national tours, not having to compete. We've had a couple tight moments where, again, you don't think about it in the moment, but after the fact, Logan and I got racing really hard in Volusia for a dash spot and situations like that. But obviously, I root those guys on. I'm, good friends with Logan, being a teammate at a time. But it's been good for her. She's learned so much in the Outlaw Tour. No matter what spot you're in, whether you're, car chief, tire guy, crew chief, whatever, it's a grind. And just like me being on a high limit tour with the team, you just learn so much. And I think you know a little more than you do, and then you go do something like this and you realize wow, this is just a whole new thing. So it's been great for her, and she's just a hard worker. So she likes to be in the weeds of all this. And I feel like this year has been a huge year of growth for both of us.
Yeah, it's wild to me to think that you and your sister both went national in the same year.
Yeah.
I was always amazed with Carly. She's such a hard worker. I remember some nights you guys would tear stuff up or whatever would happen.
Yeah.
And she was busting her butt.
Yeah, no.
Now she's full-time.
Totally. There was last year, so we broke, I don't know, it was a stop or something happened on her 360 night. Well, she stayed up all, she told me, she's like, you need to go to bed. We had one other crew guy, and they stayed up all night and didn't sleep because we had to build a whole new car. So, that's just kind of her MO. Whatever it takes, whether it's our team and what we had or someone else. And so that's one of her best qualities. She's just the same no matter who she's working for. And I know that's been a huge asset to Shark Racing. And I know she's really going down the route of learning to be a crew chief. She's not just, she wants to do it, but she was really learning. I think some of these guys out here, right, again, they're happy to do it and they are, but she's really taking it all in to be a crew chief and know how to make these cars go fast.
So a few years ago, you jump in the 1A in kind of a wild scenario. Talk about racing in that group with that scenario and kind of going to new places one after the other and succeeding so well like you did.
Totally, yeah. No, the stuff I learned from Bobby was definitely what propelled me so much even when I got back in my own car, just learning how to not just drive and some of the feedback he could give me there, but just how he ran his team. We all know that Shark Racing their story was kind of doing a lot with less than everyone else, but I firsthand saw it. Even then they had been, racing national for 10 or 11 years, and it was still the same thing to that day. Bobby going and buying used tires from the team 3 doors down, and then we go quick time that night, and he was just so proud of that kind of stuff. That's just, he loved it. And so, all the different things he had. And it is funny. He never really wrote anything down. It was all up in his head. But he knew it, and he would explain it every day. He had systems in place on how to reinvest to make your team better. How he would get by, and then what was enough to reinvest, and then what was growth for the program. And he always would take the time to walk me through that. So that was really important. And then obviously going to so many places was a big deal, and you just have to go through that in your career. That I remember that being some of those nights were so high, and then some of those nights was how am I going to figure this out? Because, I went to Williams Grove, and I didn't even know what I was feeling. I'm going down these long straightaways, my right front's in the air, I'm getting blown by cars. So you have nights like that, and then we had a night at Jackson, or a couple were on the podium with the Outlaws. So I just realized that it was cool, how close I was to the top, but also I knew I was so much farther than I thought I was. And so, again, learning all that with Bobby and his guys was great, and again, just kind of kept propelling me being part of my story.
Off track, what's your favorite Bobby Allen story?
Ooh,
I feel like everybody has their Bobby Allen story, right? And
no, totally. Gosh, there's quite a few of them. Oh, I guess a good one. I think I did tell this on one of my shows, but maybe people don't know this. Bobby actually took me to my first bar that I ever went to. So we were in South Dakota. There's this small town called Madison, South Dakota, I think it was, and we were racing in between. And again, when I say a bar, just this little thing on the corner that he knew all the guys there, and they took all the crew guys, and we were just in the middle of the week. And I'd never been to a bar in my life, and he was like, come on in, and brought us all, and that was kind of it. So we were traveling the country together for a little bit, and just missed that guy to death. Just an incredible, his story was so incredible, and just learned so much from him, even though I only know him, last 3 years of his life.
Could you imagine going into a bar with Bobby Allen?
Yeah.
How great that would be?
I could imagine. I could definitely imagine.
That would be epic.
The guy, and everywhere we went, he was just, the ladies came
Everybody
to him.
loved him, right?
The ladies came to Bobby. So probably could have learned some tips from him there. He had it figured out.
I remember one time I was somewhere in North Dakota. Everyone would park together, and we'd do a barbecue one night, and at some point, we had poured methanol around Bobby and lit it on fire. And Bobby's sitting in his chair, and there's fire around. And then Clyde Knipp's getting chased by Logan Schuhart's dog. His dog keeps biting him in the ankles and stuff. And it's memories like that when you look back on it, and it's like, dude, like, what a legend Bobby
Totally.
was.
Yeah.
He is.
I
He
mean,
is a legend.
And just all the little things about him, like he had these glasses that went around his neck, and then he would always, they pulled apart, and then he would connect them, and he'd look at the sheets and stuff and go over the information, or he was always be sitting in his chair, and I just remember I kneel down, get to his level, and you could never hear the guy because he talks so fast, but like he mumbled at the same time. And so like I finally, after about a month, figured out his language, and I could understand him better. And he just so dedicated to sprint car racing, and never, like most of the nights I was with him, he told me he just never slept because he was thinking about our car, and the nights we weren't good, like he just constantly was like going over setup stuff and on the phone, and he'd be in other pit areas just trying to figure it out. So I learned a lot of just like the grit he had, even at was like 81 years old. Like he was hustling just as hard as us. So that was cool.
That's just so cool.
It is.
I remember when they started and the whole progression, because that was like when I was kind of getting started, seeing you get in that car and have the success and where you're at now, it's incredible to see, and I'm happy to see you do it.
Thank you. Yeah, no, just like I said, awesome to be part of my story, and I definitely wouldn't be where I'm at without the Shark Racing guys, and then again, even like the Tarleton team, and like just getting, being a part of good teams and good rides, and having all the things line up is what makes our sport what it is, and the right situations are what create successful outcomes and results.
How's Book to race for? He's got to be a blast.
Yeah, Tom's a good dude. Many don't know, like Tom, he don't actually come to a lot of the races. So he was here actually just for a couple nights. I think we're racing tonight, but I think he was on his way home now. But no, Tom's a good dude. It sounds like maybe he's mellowed out a little bit over the years. Like used to have a really good time. But no, he's a great owner to have in my corner. He's involved with the program, but he also really just lets us do our thing. Like Sean Strasbaugh, my crew chief, been with the team for a while, and he's a great guy for me to lean on. So a lot of times we're attacking things, and Tom just, hey, what do you, between Tom and we have Jerry Petty with the Vonnie, like they're just like, hey, what do you guys need? Like if you need something, like come to us. We'll figure it out, and we'll get the program to where it needs to go, so you guys can do your job.
We wish you tons of luck this week, man. Bring that Pella car to the front.
Yep.
Close to Pella. I think the place would go
for sure.
crazy.
Totally. No, thank you guys. Enjoy Knoxville, and try to be in the top 4 tonight.
Tanner Holmes, ladies and gentlemen, give him a round of applause. Thank you. We're going to take one more break, and when we come back, Tanner Thorson will join us here on the show.
They'll tell you who you are.
What you can't do.
Where you don't belong.
But with the right people at your side, you write your own story.
You don't wait for success, you chase it. Sharper, tougher, faster, with every lap.
And when you give everything you've got, you don't just win. You inspire what comes next.
Unveiled at PRI, 5-Star introduced an all-new sprint car body engineered using advanced CFD aero analysis, validated through on-track testing using real-time airflow data.
There's no reason why anybody will want to run anything else than this 5-Star sprint car body.
Designed to fit Maxim, XXX, Schnee Lawson, JR1, J&J, DRC, Spike, and more. 5-Star's all-new sprint car body. the new standard in sprint car technology.
Inside a machine that's built to win, it's chaos, unless it's protected. Every component is pushed to the limit. Lap after lap, these engines take a beating. And when performance is everything, there's no room for compromise. From race day to work day, Wix filters are trusted, where failure isn't an option. Wix filters, engineered for experts.
And welcome back to the pre-race show, brought to you by Midwest Sanitation. Tanner Thorson joining us here for the final segment of the evening, and I'm going to just let you turn it over. You got some good stuff there that you want to talk about, because I'm interested as well.
Yeah, we didn't have much time last night, but where I want to hit off is, was it last year when you brought out the 4-coil car?
Yeah.
And I think 90% of the people are like, what are we doing here? Why would you do something like that? And then the success that you guys had. Obviously, you guys struggled to time in a little bit last year, but started racing great. You guys started off incredibly hot this year, but now we've got a 4-bar car for the Nationals. Talk about the coil car, and then now switching a car with 0 notebook to come to the biggest race of the year.
Yeah, the 4-bar car, or the 4-coil car, was kind of just a hit of the moment, right? Like, obviously Stevie has ran them for years, and it was something that I wanted to do. I was running 4 coils on my midget, and I felt like it makes sense, right? And we had a torsion bar break at Chico during Gold Cup, and I started kind of looking into torsion bars more and more, and just kind of realized like how inconsistent they were at that time, and I think they still kind of are. But yeah, just the coil cars was such a different deal for me. Like, I got in it and then I instantly felt like wow, like this feels really good. And then coming to nationals, and then obviously coming to Knoxville on weekly shows, I just realized like I was struggling a lot and just not really having what I needed, and just didn't feel comfortable. And then went and ran a bar car last week at Lucas Oil, and I felt like I did when I first put that coil car together. So yeah, just you don't ever want to come to Knoxville not having a notebook, but I also felt like we haven't really had any notebook anyways, because we weren't fast. So yeah, just a lot of good people behind me that have been able to kind of help me, get to where we're at with that bar car quick, and be able to obviously have some speed. Still don't race great, but can qualify. So
what would the feel be like on a 4-coil car? I mean, I've never driven a coil front other than a midget. What does that feel like, and is it just easier to drive, or what was the idea behind that?
I feel like the biggest thing that I felt was like, I felt like it was independent suspension in a sense. Like, we still obviously live axles and everything, but I just felt like I could feel each corner better. And up until, about halfway through this season, I really still had that feel. And then with the tires changing a little bit, I lost all of that. And, I feel like we're going to pull it back out to go out west. And like, our short track game is definitely, still good, I feel like, with it. And, the big thing was just building a car that was capable of getting around here, without me working the wheel. Stevie, he's like, what's the car doing? I'm like, I can't tell you. I don't know. I'm chasing it this way and that way, and I don't know. So, but yeah, just kind of a sign of relief, rolling in here and, qualifying good at the Cappy and having decent speed there. And then, again last night. So
as a fan of the sport, how I think it's pretty cool that Stevie is on the other end of the phone whenever you need him. That's pretty cool. What's that been like for you? I mean, the guy's a legend in our sport. He knows how to work on a race car. He damn sure knows how to drive one. What's that been like to have him in your corner?
Huge. I came from running midgets and stuff, and then sprint cars on the West Coast, but not really, on the national level. And he's done it. So it's definitely, there's ups and downs. Sometimes I want to reach through the front and grab him, but sometimes he probably wants to do that to me too. But, he has a different outlook on racing than anybody else, compared to anybody else I've, dealt with. And very obviously, you guys know he's very laid back. Yeah. So I think he's definitely changed my outlook and the way we kind of do stuff with our team and everything as well. So been the biggest boost for my career as a driver and a guy working on the race car as well.
So you're a West Coast guy originally, and you obviously a lot of midget experience, but you jumped into a sprint car, and I don't think many people know this. You jumped into a sprint car, almost win your first outlaw race, and then back to midgets.
You were there.
Yeah, I was there, absolutely. And then watching this progression from midgets and tons of success in midgets, and now back to the sprint car. Talk about a little bit of this pathway to get to a national tour in a wing sprint car.
Yeah, so I was racing midgets out with Keith Coons, and I got hooked up with a guy named Richie Segura out in California, and he bought 3 of Motter's cars and a Speedway motor, and that's all we had. And we hired Lee Lindgren, and the rest, I mean, I don't really remember a lot of it. I was so young, and we showed up at Tulare for our first ever sprint car race, and it was with the Outlaws. And I'm like, wow, man, I don't know what I'm doing here. And I missed the show by 1 spot, and then we went to Chico and ran second to Donnie from 13th. So I could tell him, one more lap, one restart, because I was young and dumb. I didn't know what I was doing. I mean, I'm surprised the right rear tire looked as good as it did, because it ended up rubbering up, and I was just driving by guys, and everybody's like, "Oh, beginner's luck," and I'm like, "Man, I'm a pretty good rubber racer." So
yeah, let it leave rubber every night.
Yeah, exactly. So man, it's from there to now. Obviously, times have changed and stuff's different, and I don't drive like I used to by any means, and I think it might be a little bit harder now that you don't drive like that and have a different mindset. So, it's been good.
A lot of drivers think they know how to set a race car up. You know how to set a race car up. You've been
Sometimes.
very involved for a long time in your career, whether it be the midget stuff or the sprint car stuff. Obviously, worked with Lee a lot as well. But talk about being involved in the race car as much as you are. Like, do you feel that helps you or hurts you, or both at times?
There's definitely times where it's very beneficial, and there's times where I think hurts me, maybe overthink a little bit, and that's where Stevie's came into the picture to kind of ease my mind and be like, let's just work on this corner. Let's not go wholesale change this thing. So, I've always said, I think you need to know your race car. There's a lot of guys out here that don't know their race car that I think it hurts, and there's some guys that do know their race cars that it hurts as well too. So I think there's a different pathway. There's for both. And then you got Larson that doesn't know one thing about the race car and just destroys all of us. So, but he's a different breed, so we don't talk about him very much. But
it's unfair racing that guy. That's for sure.
Yeah. So. I really do enjoy having, hands-on and being able to adjust my race car. And I think it's something that is definitely helped me over the years to be able to do that. And, but I also have a lot of good people in my pocket, a lot of people that people don't really know about. And, I got my father-in-law, and, a lot of people don't know him much, but, Scott Sawyer with Sawyer Chassis back in the day, he's actually working for JST, and, he's out on the road and very smart person. Don't want to get his head too big. I think he's standing over there somewhere. But
a legend himself in a race car.
Yes, exactly. Like, people don't really, if you're not from micros or whatnot, like, you don't know. But like, he was an OG, So, it's just good to have good people, and I think a lot of these teams, have those people that are behind it, the fast teams that have those people they can call and just bounce stuff off of, and I think that our team is where it's at is because of having, 5 people that, I could call at any second in the day or night and just be like, what, am I overthinking it? Am I, what am I doing wrong here? So, it's just, I think having people and me as well, kind of retaining the information and throwing it at it.
When speaking of your team, you guys have just swapped ownership on your team. Talk about walking through that progress. That's got to be a wild thing to have right before the Knoxville Nationals.
Yeah, it wasn't ideal, but it's definitely in better hands. Not saying anything bad towards Rod Gross or anything, but Jason and Chantel, stepping up like they did to kind of overtake our team and everything has been nothing but great, man. They're really good people. Me and my wife, became really good friends with them on the outside before they were even our car owners and stuff. And actually Scott Sawyer was the one that hooked us up with them originally. And he came in to just look at parts at Stevie's, and him and Scott became buddies. And next thing you know, he's sponsoring us and want to own our team and everything. And so it's been good. Yeah, I got a phone call on the way to Billings, Montana that we were shutting down. I was like, yeah, that ain't gonna happen. So picked up the
keys.
Yeah, truck's in our possession. So and Rod Gross, man, he went out on a limb for me, man. He really did. So. Went around from walking through the pits and seeing me work on the race car, which is what caught his eye. And then to building a team and not even knowing me, never met in person. And we show up in Florida is the first time we met, and we had a race ready team, 1 car, 1 motor. And we went and ran down in Florida and, almost won our first night out, and we ended up running 3rd. But So just definitely a crazy moment, especially for, racing with these teams that have the same owners for years to come, and they show successes, and that's why, right? So that's the goal, man. Just keep digging here.
And what's wild to think is you're kind of still a rookie in the wing stuff. You don't have the laps the majority of these guys have. So you're on year 2 of a national tour, but in the grand scheme of things, you're at the very beginning, year 3.
Come on now.
At the very beginning of this still. I mean, when you think about it, the guys that you're competing against, a lot of them have been on the tour for a long time, whether it be the Outlaws or High Limit. And I mean, you guys are off to a pretty good start with still a very early part in your career.
Yeah, and I keep saying it, and I feel like I sound like a broken record. It comes down to the people that are around you. I mean, straight up. I mean, and honestly, I feel like our team is where it's at because of Stevie. I mean, initially, like having the resources, having the connections, having the knowledge of what to do and what you need and what you don't need. And obviously, I've not ran on the sprint car tour, but I ran midgets full time on a national level for 6 years. So I got to see what Keith Kunz Motorsports does. Like that, I mean. They're the gangsters in midget racing. So, they definitely, Keith alone himself has kind of groomed me at that point. And then obviously Lee Lindgren and Stevie. And, I feel like at times I'm like, man, we do lack because of knowledge and time, right? But there's also times where I'm like, man, like we're way ahead of where we should be. So.
Well, good luck this week. I know it's not easy. This is a tough field. We've been talking all week about how high caliber the field is here this year, and we expect that we'll see you right in the thick of it. So good luck this weekend.
Yeah, man. Thank you, guys.
Tanner Thorson, ladies and gentlemen, give him a round of applause. Tomorrow, David Gravel will join us. Rico will be here. Aaron Reitzel and Austin McCarr will join us here on the pre-race show. Again, special thanks to Midwest Sanitation and to this guy, Dominic Selzy, for joining us here on the stage. We look forward to seeing you here tomorrow night.
The greatest show on dirt, the World of Outlaws!
Every lap, every race, every bit of paint traded for every hard-fought place. Every checkered flag and trophy raised. Every ounce of dirt, sweat, and gears. They're all jammed inside every can of NOS Energy. Go ahead, open up a can.
World of Outlaws are back at Houston Speedway. Friday through Sunday, September 4th through the 6th for the LG Everest Houston Shootout. The greatest sprint car drivers in the world wrap up the season as D&I Railroads, Maryland Royce, and Ace Ready Mix bring you 3 big nights featuring a $25,000 top prize. Get your tickets and campsites now at HoustonSpeedway.com. That's 3 action-packed nights of the greatest show on dirt in the LG Everest Houston Shootout, September 4th through the 6th. The 2-time event, World of Outlaws, champion, David
got it all at shopdgr.com. We got koozies, t-shirts, crew necks, hoodies, die-casts, pullback cars. We got everything. Check it out right here.
If dirt was a paycheck, we'd all be leaving here rich tonight. Until that happens, it pays to use Tub-A-Towel's heavy-duty cleaning wipes. At the track, in the garage, or at home, Tub-A-Towels is tough on dirt, easy on hands, and made in the USA. Tub-A-Towels, the world's hardest working wipe. Available at all major automotive and hardware retail stores.
Trackwear, streetwear, workwear. No matter where you are, be race ready. Clothing brand built for fans, drivers, and crews.
Everyone knows me as Maddie, but here I'm Master Sergeant Hefner.
Can't stop this. Ha. So let's go.
This is my life in the Air National Guard.
You can't stop this. Never. Let's go.
There are only 26 drivers who have earned the right to make Friday night in Central Iowa whatever they want it to be.
Down the front straightaway. Who will get the win? Sheldon Hodenshield.
On a qualifying night at the Knoxville Nationals will go to Kyle Larson. For the rest of the Knoxville Nationals field, it's a clean slate. The points are flushed, missed opportunities are washed away, and there is still a clear path to the A main event. But grabbing one of the final 4 automatic berths come with the same pressure, desperation, and one-lap intensity that defines Knoxville. Tonight, there is no tomorrow. No points to fall back on, no second chance to make the first impression.
Kerry Matson and a couple others upside down. Chase Randall personally is sideways in front of the
They're riding on the back of the car, dumping fuel in it as we speak. Get together, Sammy's flipping wildly down the back straightaway. That's why it's a hard knocks night at the sprint car capital of the world.
From an entry list of 98, we've trimmed it down to 70 drivers that have already had some hard knocks, missed the setup, or simply found themselves on the wrong end of the scales of luck. Tonight, wrongs can be righted as we welcome everyone to the sprint car capital of the world, the rainy sprint car capital of the world, the Knoxville Raceway. Hey, flexibility remains the word of the day, as weather again will be a factor, but it hasn't kept the fans away as we say hello to everyone taking cover underneath all of the overhangs. Hi guys, how's everybody doing out there? And of course, to all of the DIRTVision viewers watching at home, thank you. Welcome to Hard Knocks qualifying as we officially welcome you to the Dominic Scelzi stage here at the Knoxville Raceway. Thanks for hanging out. That's Connor Wade, of course. I'm Dave Reef, and you know what? There are better things. It's okay. It's fine. This is good.
There's worse ways we could be spending our Friday afternoon. I can absolutely assure you of that. We're at the sprint car capital of the world, so things could always be worse. But, you know, this is by far the biggest curveball these drivers, these teams, and this track prep crew have been dealt with all week. Yeah, we had some rain yesterday. This is the hardest that it's rained all day, though, at least this afternoon. Maybe had some harder rain overnight. But this is the hardest that's come down today. Hot laps at this point have been delayed about 30 minutes or so, back to 7:15 p.m. Central Time. So,
allegedly.
Yeah, a lot of curveballs, at this point in the day, but it's the Knoxville Nationals, and nothing is going to stop the Knoxville Nationals. We can assure you that.
Tell you what, guys, I'm thrilled to be here 3 nights in a row. This is amazing. I'm just thankful Oprah Winfrey was not able to make it, or Shane Gillis, so third choice, but I'm happy to be here.
Were they on the list? If they were, shame on us for doing that. But
I think Dwayne Johnson was right behind me, so you're lucky.
Hey, you know what? I would take a Wayne Johnson interview all day long. That guy's funny.
He said
just
Dwayne
like
Johnson, not
Wayne.
Wayne.
Oh, Dwayne. The Rock?
Basically
The Rock.
Basically the same person, though, right?
We have the same build, I keep hearing.
Hey, listen, flexibility has got to be the word of the day, but the Knoxville Nationals, the one thing you have to do this week is raise your game. How much added pressure will we race? Will we not race? We're lucky to be here, having got through 2 days after what we had yesterday. So in some ways fortunate, in some ways, here we are, but what does that add to the equation?
I can tell you right now, this helps nobody. This is not good for any driver. I had to race Hard Knocks night, and that feeling of pressure from Thursday night knowing, okay, we're racing on Friday, is enough to choke a horse. Then you've got weather. Are we going to race? Are we not? What is the plan if we don't race? How are we going to be if we run a day show? What's it going to be if we run late at night? What's the track going to look like? What's my pill draw going to be? What's the track going to run into?
Yeah.
Are we going to be, all these things go through your mind as a driver. So you've got a lot of things that you're going to be worried about as a driver. And then now you're sitting and waiting and you're thinking, okay, I've just drawn a 98, like some of the guys we've heard. Is it going to be a good thing because now it's wet? Or, you know what, I just drew a 17. Is the track going to be way too greasy? Are they going to rush it along? Both things can be true. We don't really know what we're going to get, and as a driver, that unpredictability is going to be a tough thing to add to the Knoxville Nationals.
And the intensity and the attitude in the pit area is going to be as pessimistic as it's been all week long at the Knoxville Nationals. Coming into Hard Knocks Friday, you pretty much know if you're not in the top 4 tonight, you're not going to win the Knoxville Nationals. If you're on the top 4 tonight, you're going to be lucky to make the Knoxville Nationals. So, and then 100 different scenarios, 1,000 different scenarios starts running through your head whenever you see this weather pop up. So the drivers in the pit area right now, you can bet there's a lot of them freaking out.
Hey, listen, I got to flip the script, though, because I remember coming back to the Knoxville Nationals in the mid-'90s where we used to lock in the top 50, and that was almost all of your bona fide stars. We'll have proof of that coming up with the guys we're going to see tonight. But locking in 26, changing the program around, Hard Knocks qualifying has become one fans want to come and see because you're going to see a lot of the heavy hitters, and they're fighting for those valuable spots.
Yeah, and you know what? The format is fantastic. I remember as a kid, we'd watch, and on Friday, you'd see like the W main. You'd win on Friday night, and it'd be like, okay, where do we start? We start 40th, at 8 a.m. It's way different now, and I think the format's correct, but it is so cutthroat. When I ran Friday, I locked in at 4th, and I remember Shane Stewart's in front of me running out of fuel, and I'm thinking, I don't want to race him because I've got whoever behind me, and they're going to slide me no matter what on the last lap or the last corner. So these drivers knowing that 4th is as good as 1st and 5th is as good as 55th. It is very cutthroat. Obviously, 5th place puts you in the B main and not the D main or something like that, but that 4th spot is coveted.
One of the best parts about rain delays, if you can find good spots, and there are some out there, you do get the opportunity to kind of sit back, relax, do some bench racing with everybody. Of course, you've been up here, so you have no idea what's going on out there. If you wear a DIRTVision shirt or anything with the World of Outlaws, the biggest question we'd be getting is, Connor, are we racing tonight? What do you know? What do you know?
Yeah, we've had about 1,000 different people come up to us in the last hour just, asking those 2 questions. And the honest answer is we don't know a whole lot. You hear rumors of, is the plan this, is the plan that, and we can sit here and talk about possibilities. If we get more precipitation here in the next little bit, would we race really late tonight? That's certainly going to be an option, depending on how quickly they think they can get the racetrack ready. If not, and this is unofficial, this is just us guessing, you'd have to think the day show tomorrow and doubling up the Friday and Saturday programs into one day, you'd have to think that would be an option. You really can't run the Saturday night portion without the Friday portion the way the format is. So you can't wipe this out completely. There's a couple different options, but it's really all dependent on Mother Nature, and it's going to be a very fluid situation as far as what actually happens.
I actually just got off the phone with corporate a little bit ago, and they did tell me what the plan is. They're not releasing that, but if any of you fans want to know, $25 cash, come talk to me, and I will let you guys know the inside scoop as to what's actually going on.
Or a cheeseburger.
Either or the Hawaiian Grill is fantastic.
I'll take it a step further. I just want to know if we are or if we're not, because some 25 yards away, those $25 would go a long way over here at the bar. I mean, shoot, we could be up here having a drink, relaxing, kicking back.
Yeah, you know what? And it's great that NOS is sponsoring the event because I've been pouring NOS in my drinks and I've been having a great time. I'm not sleeping and I'm feeling great. So thankfully we're so close to the bar.
Sheldon's win the other night inspired me to try the Grand Prix Guava for the first time.
And what do you think?
I got to say it, and so I'll be honest. There's flavors in NOS that aren't my personal favorite.
Not your cup of tea.
I'm not just saying this because they sponsor the series, but the Grand Prix Guava is my favorite NOS flavor. Like, it is actually pretty sick.
There we go. I'll have to try one later. Well, if not, are we racing tonight? And what do you know? The next biggest question, and they came from over here before the fans started piling out due to that rain falling as hard as we've seen all day today, is how come Dom Selzy's not in the Knoxville Nationals? A couple times you've been able to make it. You ran the A main, but why not this year?
It's been tough. The last, I want to say 7 or 8 years, we have not competed here, and a lot of that is I've got 2 beautiful girls running around here somewhere.
We saw Gia. She is a charmer.
She is gorgeous. And, being a dad and working full-time, it makes it hard to get away. I race quite a bit on the West Coast, but, these trips back east, they just get harder and harder. I'm not going to say we're never going to come back, but I would love to come back. One thing I won't do is I won't just come and show up. I want to make sure that we're prepared. I was blessed with 3 Knoxville Nationals runs, and we were Rookie of the Year the first year, and we made the next 2 years. And I don't want to come here and have a Nationals that puts me in the D main or the E main. I want to be here and be competitive. And I've struggled enough at home at times, or been good enough at home at times to know that this isn't a race you can't just wing. And it shows. Every driver that we've talked to on the pre-race show, the pre-race show, they all show in their voice and in their words what this race means. It's not something to just throw around. And actually, a good friend of mine gave me the opportunity to race this week, and I felt like I would be unprepared for him as well as myself to come here and just unload. There's a lot of guys that try and do it, and it's a dream to just compete in this event. But for me, unfortunately, if we're not in the drivers' meeting on Saturday, I really have no business wanting to be here. I want to run this race and run well in it.
Was it Paul Silva? Dominant sells in the 57?
There's still time for that. Paul has my phone number. He never answers when I call or text, but
Did you bring the helmet bag?
No, but I'm sure I could. I'd wear Kyle's stuff like tonight if he'd let me. And I don't think Kyle would let that happen because it'd probably stretch a couple parts of the suit out. But I may do it anyways. All the keys work in all the trailers, so I could find my way in there. Maybe I'll just wear his stuff and then they'll have to let me race.
Well, speaking of Kyle Larson and speaking of you not coming here and running if you can't raise your game, raising his game at Knoxville and Kyle Larson, they just seem to go hand in hand. His record here is simply stunning.
Yeah, last night his 15th overall win at this racetrack, and I will tell you, even though he's obviously not expected to be in the field for the finale, the run that he's been on this week is very reminiscent of 2024 whenever he won the Knoxville Nationals. Going into that August, they'd been struggling a lot. Not that they've been struggling this year, they've had good runs, but August of 2024, they win the Ironman 55. In fact, they sweep it with 2 really exciting races. Then they win Oskaloosa on Tuesday. Then they win the prelim night. So this week he won the Capitani Classic, went to Osti, and then obviously won the prelim last night. So, he's 3 for 3. He's undefeated, and the 57 just got a lot of speed. So obviously they're not expected to be in the field Saturday night, but if something crazy happens weather-related, and we are here Sunday, that completely changes the narrative of this Knoxville Nationals.
Wouldn't it be crazy if it was crazy here and fine there? That's the ironic part of it.
Yeah, and what's wild about this entire week is there's a lot of patterns. When you look back on the history of this event, you see very rarely do you see a guy that is struggling, not running great, shows up on Saturday and wins the Knoxville Nationals. Usually there's a pattern. A few weeks before the Nationals, they run really good. If they run the Cappy, they run well. Like I always think of Brad Sweet. He came in, he ran, I don't know how many laps it was, but every single one was on the bottom. He wins the Cappy, he wins his prelim night, he wins Saturday night. So guys that get hot are successful, and with this rain, who knows what we see on Saturday? If it's, gets postponed, we might see Kyle. Who knows?
And correct me if I'm wrong, that's 3 Capitani Classics, 3 front row challenges in a row, and 3 front row prelim nights?
I know 3 prelim nights in a row, and I believe 3 Oskaloosa wins in a row is correct as well. He usually doesn't run the Capitani Classic, at least he hadn't the last couple of years. So the Capitani Classic that he ran this year on Sunday was the first one I remember him running in quite some time, and I know he won it back in 2020 as well. So just something about this racetrack and even this area is just something that really fits in Kyle's wheelhouse. And hey, let's be honest, what doesn't fit in his wheelhouse, right?
Well, last night Young Money started 8th. Everybody probably had him on his bingo card. By the time 25 laps were done, here is how Kyle Larson got the job done on his only night at Knoxville in the Nationals.
Garrett Williamson getting right out on him as they race into turn number 1. Austin McCarl looking to the outside. They'll go side by side off of turn number 2. Buddy Kofoid to 3rd. Brian Brown already up into the 4th spot.
Here comes Buddy Kofoid making the charge into the 2nd spot.
Boy, Buddy had a nice big run off the top of turn number 2 there as he settles himself into the 2nd spot. McCarl staying right there within striking distance in 3rd. Brian Brown into the 4th. Oh, car spinning, 2 cars together in turn number 4. 24 laps to go as Austin McCarl goes back to the top of the racetrack, mounting a charge on Garrett Williamson down the back straightaway.
Race for the lead into turn 1, the big unit with a slider into turn 2.
Austin McCarl taking the top spot down the back straightaway now as Garrett Williamson tries to charge back by. Garrett Williamson and Austin McCarl going nose to tail down the front straightaway. Buddy Kofoid still trying to close in, and Garrett Williamson goes back to the top spot.
Here comes McCarl for the lead again.
Austin McCarl slides up across turn number 2 to take the lead back from Garrett Williamson, who looks back to the inside. He'll dive down into 3. Austin says no, holds him back into 3 and 4. Here comes Kyle Larson.
Kyle Larson dives to the inside, trying to get by Buddy Kofoid for 3rd. Kofoid back underneath him out of the 2nd corner. Larson ahead by a half a car length now, slams the door shut into turn 3. Here comes Parker Price Miller.
They're side by side as they swap second in turn number 2. Larson moves around Austin McCarl down the back straightaway.
Out in front, Garrett Williamson, but Kyle Larson just a half a second behind now. Bobble on the cushion. Caution's going to save the lead for Garrett Williamson.
Great racing for the top 3 spots as they race into turn number 2. Garrett Williamson able to stretch his legs a little bit over Kyle Larson down the back straightaway. Austin McCarl in the 3rd spot. Buddy,
oh, red flag, upside down.
Tasker Phillips.
Williamson low into turn 1. Kyle Larson on the top of the speedway. Larson with momentum. He's got to run on the leader down the backstretch into corner number 3.
Garrett Williamson stays committed to the bottom. Larson to the cushion. Garrett Williamson slides up right across the nose of Kyle Larson. They swap lines down the chute into the turn. Larson with the lead in turn 1.
Kyle Larson takes command. Garrett Williamson running second. A war behind them between Austin McCarl and Buddy Copewood. Copewood was 3rd across the line. As they race out of turn number 4, here comes Brent Marks to the inside.
Brent Marks moves up into the 3rd spot now as he gets by Austin McCarl in turn number 2.
Copewood to the inside. Marks fends off the challenge leader into 3 and 4 for the final time. Toyota qualifying night at the Knoxville Nationals will go to Kyle Larson.
Whenever you win here at Knoxville, anytime, whether I don't know if I've ever won a weekly race here or anything, but even when you're here for a weekly race, like for me anyways, you still have the same intent that you would for a prelim night. Like it just means a lot every time you're here. So when you pull into victory lane, make that right-hand turn, it's really special. So I'm glad to be able to do it here a couple times now this week, and yeah, it's just a fun race there.
And when it was all said and done, Kyle Larson had enough points to garner the pole for Paul Silva in the 57. We'll get into the lineup here in just a little bit, but more about Kyle Larson. As part of that press conference over in the Schintel Chevy Iowa Pavilion, now, a couple of things stood out to me. I asked him first and foremost, with the way you've kind of ran through Knoxville and Oskaloosa here, what does that do for your confidence now as you get set to go back and perhaps run Richmond Saturday night? And he said none. I'm like, you can't even just take it from a driver's standpoint, but he was frank. And the other point I want to talk about is Garrett Williamson. We've been up here watching these highlights and just talking about the progression of Garrett Williamson and how he stole lines away, took lines that Kyle Larson wasn't ready for him to take. He made Kyle Larson work for that win last night.
Absolutely. I really believe that that Garrett Williamson has grown and evolved and learned unlike any driver I've seen in my entire life, and I don't say that lightly. He has continued to build and build and build, and he doesn't have a national 410 sprint car win yet, which is amazing, but we're close at the Kings Royal. Almost won his preliminary night. Several times over the last couple months, he's almost won an Outlaw show. You know, he got passed by Sheldon late in, where is that in Wisconsin?
Wilmot, yeah.
Wilmot. I thought that was the night. But a guy like that progresses, and he's a slow burn, and that team has continued to get better over the last, I don't know how many years. Chatty's done a fantastic job. There's not even a word for what he's accomplished as a crew chief already. I'm blown away, and what he's doing right now as a driver, he's not getting flustered. He didn't lose last night because he got messed up or jumped the cushion. He got beat by the greatest sprint car driver doing it. So and he battled him back, passed him back, raced him back. I'm glad he's locked into the race, but I'm expecting big things out of him in the very near future, especially Saturday night.
I feel like this year in particularly, he's been able to progress and get better faster than we've seen at any point. When Williamson first broke onto the scene, it was like, okay, this kid's good. And then in 2025, he came on and ran for Rookie of the Year. And it's like, okay, this guy has the potential to probably win a race someday. But it kind of seemed like, for whatever reason, that he was getting better, but slowly. And then this year, I really feel like the end of May, early June, after they switched to that Triple X, it's been rapid as probably I've seen. And, I mean, you can probably expand more on this, but to me, when I watch him, it doesn't look like he races like a guy that's in year 2 on the Outlaws. It looks like a guy who's been racing sprint cars for a lot of time and, has a lot of wins and has a lot of experience. That's just the way he races, in my opinion, and it's a lot of fun to watch. I think he had that race at Wilmot, got beat by Sheldon Hanshield. At the Kings Royal, battling with Anthony Macri, got beat. Hanshield's one of the best drivers on the Outlaw Tour. Macri's one of the best in the country. He's the best non-touring driver. Larson's the best race car driver in the world right now. When you race toe-to-toe with those guys and get beat, yeah, you're going to get beat, but you're also going to get really, really good. And I feel like he's learning things in each of those instances that he's going to apply and just continue to progress even faster and faster.
he's losing the guys he should be losing to, in the grand scheme of things. And that team, I've never met the owner.
I really like the way you phrase that. Losing to guys you should be losing to. That's a perfect way to frame it.
And it's the truth. Like when you think of Anthony Macri, he won the Kings Royal last year. The guy knows how to win the Kings Royal. You're leading laps. You've passed him. But then you get beat late. Well, you know what? That's how you become a Kings Royal champion. I think of so many guys. Donnie Schatz ran second. I don't know how many times at this event before he won the Knoxville Nationals.
Yep.
Like 5 or 6, something ridiculous. But these are the things that a guy that has a long burn is doing, and they're doing that as a team. I just hope that they can stay together long enough to really reap the benefits.
Well, as we mentioned, it was Kyle Larson that got his 15th overall win at the Knoxville Nationals. More than enough points to garner the pole for the Paul Silva 57. Let's go ahead and show you the lineup that reflects the top 16 drivers locked in that come from the 2-point qualifying nights. And I thought it was kind of interesting. 5 of those drivers in the top 16 came from last night. Larson, Kofoid, Schuart, Williamson, Brian Brown, the rest of them from the opening night as Hodenshields' numbers good enough to hold on to second. What is that a product of, do you think?
Yeah, I think obviously last night we probably didn't see as many high scorers. I feel like early on racetrack was pretty heavy. Now it slipped off and got racy later on in the night. But early on in the night there weren't as many high point scores out of the heat races. We saw a lot of the quick timers have to go through the B main last night, and that was kind of the case on Wednesday as well. Really been the case both nights. But the score to get into the feature was a little bit higher than I think we expected it to be overall. But the score to get into the B main was a lot lower than it had been in the past. So kind of a unique dynamic there and surprising in a way. But, it's been kind of a weird Knoxville Nationals. We've seen a lot of guys these first couple nights set quick time and then not make it into their heat race, or qualify good and not make it into their heat race, I should say. And then, Tanner Thorson last night, he, was at the back of the feature and, locked into the B main, but wasn't in the features. So, it's kind of been an interesting dynamic through these first couple nights in terms of how and when drivers have accumulated points.
Yeah, and I'll tell you one thing. What I've taken away from this week more than ever before is I want to be 11th to 15th qualified. Like, if I can start 6th in my heat race, I've got a way better shot going into turn 1. And you can choose. And a lot of people, I don't think, realize that. This place especially, when you start on the bottom, you have one job. It's run the bottom. You don't get to, move around or slide across it because it gets too slow. When you start on the top, you can actually make that decision to where you're running on the top down the straightaway. I can move down to the bottom if it's open, I can run the middle, or I can rip the top. And having those options and the lanes open from starting on the outside is such an advantage in these heat races. So I'm marking my notes for when I do come back. I'll just make sure I qualify 11th through 15th.
Careful, we'll see how that works out. That's awful hard. It's a very fine sword. We will have the B main lineup coming up in just a little bit, but let's further dissect some more of the names that, I don't want to say they're surprises to be in the A main, but how about Casey Kane, all the way up there in the number 4 position?
I wouldn't have been surprised to see Casey make the feature, but I did not expect to see Casey, be starting 4th in the Knoxville Nationals. I think it's really impressive. KKR, don't forget what they did. Obviously, last year and this year, probably they haven't won as many races as they'd like. Brad, he had his attention going a lot of different directions. Last season, they had a completely different looking crew than they'd had in the past. And Brad had a difficult 2025, and then 2026 has been a growing year. A lot of growing pains with Dason, still a very young crew. And then Casey hasn't really been racing full-time a lot, but the big thing to me is they brought in Mikey Kemper, and Mikey's been around a long time. He's working on that number 4 machine, and Mikey was on the road with Craig Kinzer a lot back in the day. So I think you combine that experience plus the fact that Casey went in the 39M and ran a handful of races, and he did an interview with Jeremy Elliott this week about how that taught him some things. He was able to take some things about maybe it's how to drive, maybe what kind of a setup he thrives in. He was able to take that over to his program. So I think the combination of that and working with Mikey Kemper, who just brings some veteran road knowledge and presence that team really needs right now, I think that's allowed KKR to kind of put themselves back up speed level wise to the top teams in sprint car racing. So those are 2 things that I think have really helped Casey this week, and he's obviously sitting in a very good position.
One thing I also noticed is he jumps in the 39M, he wins his first World of Outlaw race. Nobody had that pegged.
No one.
He's going to be a posse guy, and he beats the Outlaws after being an Outlaw so many different times and owning an Outlaw team for so long. But what was interesting to me is, I don't know how long it's been, but he unloaded with a Triple X and a Dawn-On engine. That's exactly what Anthony Macri has. So I'm imagining there's synergies there. There must be something being talked about.
So was the odd in the other night? Because when I asked him, he told me the Capetta. So I don't know. There's always the engine builder.
Maybe it was. All I know is that the rumor in the pit area is that's what's going on. And
So I know for sure that they have done odds. They posted I think accidentally may have released that when they posted an Instagram story from the shop a couple of months ago. In terms of what they actually have in, they told me it was the Capetta, but they also, sometimes people lie about what they have to please certain people, but who knows, not calling anybody a liar. But either way, the Ford's fast, and, whether it's a Donut or a Capetta, I mean, those are two good engine builders.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
Two of the best in the business. But well, I think really what's less interesting to me is a change, but what's more interesting is where that direction's going. Yeah. Obviously felt something in the 39M. We see Garrett Williamson now, making a switch like this. It's kind of interesting to see guys switching it, and this is not the first time. I remember a while back, I think it was the Goodyear days, guys were running KPCs, and then they swapped off of those to, a lot of guys started moving back to Maxims or J&Js, and the evolution of this sport is really what I find so interesting is these things come in waves, and guys get onto something good, and then the easiest thing to copy is what you see, and so you start changing your program around in hopes to find something, and it seems like they have.
I know we were looking at the lineup, and I don't want to deviate from that too much. We'll get back to it. But what do you make of the Triple X's that are all running so fast right now? Casey obviously in one, Macri's in one, but Garrett Williamson, they switched to a Triple X. Reitzel's been in a Triple X. I understand Chase Dietz is in a Triple X and he's leading the country and wins. Schuhart's been fast lately. What do you make about what specifically about those race cars is working right now?
Well, I'll tell you one thing. I have made pretty much every chassis manufacturer look bad in one time in my career. So I can tell you they all work and they all don't. But it's really interesting to me. I'm a Maxim guy. I've been on Maxims for years. I'm not really doubting my equipment. I think I'm doubting more myself right now. But it's odd. We're seeing these things happen where guys are going from a J&J to a Triple X, and hey, they've picked up speed, or an Eagle to a Triple X, and they're going faster, or they're more consistent. I don't know what that is. Something in there is telling you something. I don't know what that is. I know right now for me personally, I feel like I'm struggling to have the car lay left. Maybe these things lay left a little bit better. And I know years ago that, a KPC chassis had, really even drive. And that's what guys were looking for when it came to, Goodyears. So as these things progress, and we talk about tires a lot as drivers, like that's our thing, right? Oh, we didn't qualify good, well, these tires or whatever. But at the end of the day, the tires have changed, and they are a little bit different than what we've seen a couple years ago. And when we were on the H tire, they were a little bit different. And now this type of tire, I feel, has changed a couple times. So the goalpost changes, and when you're dealing with that as a team and a driver, the easiest thing to change is the car, the shocks, your wings, and these changes. If you're feeling something small and it goes in the right direction, well, if one bite of pie tastes good, then two must be better, and that's what these guys are doing.
Let's get back into this format. As for those of you joining us home on DIRTVision, this is the pre-race show. We're in a bit of a holding pattern as it continues to rain right now. The good news for the fans here, they've got the slide job bar right over here. They've got some protection, and they're enjoying the commentary because Dominic Selzy's a big part of it. Perhaps the guy that is flying under the radar, not just this weekend, he also did it at the 360 Knoxville Nationals. Justin Henderson is going to start sixth, and this has kind of got all of us sort of fired up.
Man, I love Justin Henderson. I always have. He's a heck of a good dude and one of the most underrated race car drivers, I think, of this era, and particularly here at Knoxville. And I think what has been really impressive about what he's done this season, the McGee car hasn't ran full-time in a long time. They would, run some select races here and there. I don't think they've ever ran full-time at Knoxville, maybe some races here and there, but I don't think they've ever ran here on a weekly basis. So Justin gets in it. They bring in Ian Madsen, who just retired after a wreck last season. So that combination, very unpredictable between the McGees, Ian Madsen, and Justin Henderson. If somebody would have told me, we're going to put these three together, I'd have been like, they're all nice people, they're all smart people, but is that really a combination that's going to work?
An Aussie from South Dakota. Yeah.
But it has, and it's been a lot of fun to watch. Justin's really talented. He's a very smart race car driver, and I really do believe, I think they're going to be doing long races. I think end of the race, if it's really slick, I think the 11 can come alive, and I think they can be there at the end.
A lot of people forget that Justin Henderson not so long ago was racing for Brian Sunby here every weekend in the 410 and 360s, and he was knocking wins off left and right and running very well. So Justin's been very successful here, and that 11 car, I actually got to drive it a few years ago. It was fast then, it's fast now. So the McGees, they build fast race cars. Ian's won track championships here. He's been very successful here. So it's kind of like, like beans on toast, right? I wouldn't eat it, that's for sure. But, our brothers across the seas, they like to eat that. It works sometimes, and sometimes these odd pairings actually create something special. I'm not surprised in the speed. I'm not surprised in the success. Actually, he's kind of my dark horse for this. Like when we're looking at the lineup, there's a lot of guys that can win this, but he's somebody that I feel like has been in position to win the Knoxville Nationals before, has run up front and competed to, I know he's been on the podium before. He could steal this thing away because he knows how these races play out.
And Justin's won some races across his career, but if you look, he's never won a World Outlaws race. So he really, in my opinion, he's won some track championships at Houston's, I believe, but he needs kind of that one big break, a career-defining win. And I think the Knoxville Nationals, it's obviously like that for anybody, but Justin could really, really use that for his resume. I think it changed the way people look at and remember him.
Can you imagine a guy winning his first World of Outlaws race at the Knoxville Nationals?
Oh, wait.
It just happened
last
so
year.
Why not Justin Henderson? David Gravel now with Kyle Larson not being a part of the show is the only guy that's in the top 16 that's won a Knoxville National. So chances are we could have a Justin Henderson, those style of racer, that's going to come forward and do this thing. I'm going to bring you guys 3 names next too. I just kind of want to get your opinions on. Parker Price Miller was on the floor last night. Darren Pittman's got a great starting spot in 8th. And Chase Dietz, the winningest guy out from out in Pennsylvania, has found some speed on the half mile. So those are 3 intriguing names.
Yeah, the 71's always had fast race cars around here with Bernie Stubjan. He had some good nationals here back in the day with Shane Stewart and some other guys. So 71 cars are always fast. I feel like Bernie is one of the more underrated and slept-on crew chiefs in the business, which is surprising because that car races a lot, and I feel like people just don't give it the credit it deserves for how fast it can be. And Parker's a guy that he kind of burst onto the scene. He's had some breakout races, 1-2 outlaw races. I remember he won at Hobstadt, but I feel like Parker's also had some points in his career where he's had some quiet years, and it's like, man, is this guy going to break out, or is he going to show? Is he going to have some results to show for the talent that we know he has? So he's another guy very similar to Henderson, in my opinion, that kind of needs that big break, and obviously Knoxville would be that for him. But I feel like last night was probably amongst the best I've seen Parker look at Knoxville, and that was a lot of fun to watch. He's kind of taken on a bigger role with that 71 team. It's not just Bernie now, it's Parker and Bernie doing it together, and they made some improvements.
I agree. Parker, he's won here before.
Yeah.
He's made the Nationals before. He knows what it takes to be fast around here. But what I noticed last year more than I've seen in the past with Parker is comfortability. He just looked really good around the bottom. A lot of times, when you're running up front here, especially during a race like this, sometimes you slip out on the bottom and you got to slow back down, get back to it, or drive it across. I didn't see him miss. I didn't see him slip. I didn't see him start slowing his entry up. And a lot of people don't realize this, but running the bottom at some places is easier or harder or wherever. This is the #1 place in the country that running the bottom is the most difficult thing you can do. And Knoxville's famous for it. You have to enter, as the race goes and as the bottom narrows up, you have to enter lower and lower and lower and get your left front on the berm, keep your right rear in the grip, and wait on the pedal. We were seeing Jace Park the other night. He did a great job when he was running the bottom. But then later, he's getting to the pedal a little bit earlier and washing out a little bit. All these things change your runs down the straightaway, where Parker, he's been around here so much that he knew, I'm staying in the gutter and I'm going to run very low off of 2 and 4. I think he could win it. I think when you look at the starting lineup, it's exciting to think we've got a really good shot at seeing a first-time Knoxville Nationals champion.
So I know we talked about Casey Kane a lot, but so I had reached out to Casey earlier about coming on our stage and doing an interview with us, and he just texted me back and he said he's doing a workout right now. So that's how he's getting ready for the Knoxville Nationals. But the point that I want to bring up is the physical condition that you have to be in to win the Knoxville Nationals. What do you think that is? We talked about Peevely last week, 55 laps, very grueling, very demanding. So 50 laps around a half mile, a high-speed half mile like Knoxville. What kind of physical condition do you think the winner of this race has to be in?
Yeah, it's incredibly physical. Like when you look at Logan Schuchart, look at myself. I mean, these guys, we take this stuff seriously. Like,
you're an Adonis. Come on.
We're working out 7 days a week. Look at this. But no, to me, fitness is so important in the weather that we're having. How humid has it been? How hot has it been? So when we're dealing with that as a driver, it wears you out, and it wears you out a lot quicker if you're built differently than some other guys. And Casey, he's taking his fitness very seriously. One thing that blows me away about Casey is when he was running NASCAR and he was having a hard time of keeping himself, hydrated, and he was struggling to he's falling out of the seat, not from a physical standpoint, but from not being able to keep the water in his body. He works exceptionally hard at being in shape and being fit, and that doesn't surprise me at all. Guys like that, I think, have an advantage when the weather gets as hot as it is here. So it's important. When you look down the list, not many of these guys are, banging down cheeseburgers at 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock at night.
That's why I'm doing it by myself. Unless you were
I'm there.
later.
I'm right there behind you in line.
Hey, it's DIRTVision pre-race as we get set for Hard Knocks qualifying. We are in no hurry because Mother Nature continues to delay the program, but when we come back, we'll do some of the things we promised you earlier. We'll break down the B-main lineups. We'll, of course, start talking about some of the contenders coming up tonight. What? But when we come back, we're going to continue. Everybody's saying break. I'm throwing it to a break. We're going to go to commercial right now.
DIRTVision would like to thank our friends at Elliott's Custom Trailers and Carts for helping us get from track to track.
You wanted the best, you got them for a rest. Often imitated, never duplicated. The greatest show on dirt, the World of Outlaws.
I've been told my whole life that I'm pretty fast. For a girl. Well, I hate to break it to you, but that's not true. Because with the right team, you write your own story. So no, I'm not fast for a girl. I'm fast, period.
Welcome back to the Sprint Car Capital of the World and coverage of the 65th NOS Energy Drink Knoxville Nationals presented by Casey's. Confusion continues to be the norm as we were going to break. Obviously, there was things breaking around me. Signs to break, telling me a million different things. I didn't know what it was talking about, but I'm starting to kind of feel like I got an idea what's coming.
Well, I'm not here to invite you to dinner.
We have time now.
So, race fans, here's the official word for tonight's program. We're not racing tonight. So tomorrow the pit gates will open at 8 in the morning. The grandstands will open at 9:30. The drivers' meeting will be at 10:15. Engine heat at 10:30, and hot laps for the Hard Knocks program will be at 11 o'clock tomorrow morning. We'll run the entire Friday program tomorrow. When that's done, we'll clear the grandstands out, clear the infield out. They'll re-prep the track, and we'll do it all over again for our championship night. So, unfortunately, the weather is not looking good at about 9 o'clock, and my guess is about the time they would get this track, Dave, as you know,
worked in
to a place where we could actually attempt to even hot lap, it's probably going to be raining again. So rather than keeping you here for the next 4 hours to only watch it rain at 9 or 10 o'clock, that's what the plan is, unfortunately. So again, pit gates will open at 8. Grandstands will be at 9:30. So that's your cue. 9:30 back here in the grandstands with hot laps at 11. And that's as good as I can tell you.
Well, you know what? It's not the outcome we wanted, but you know what? It just makes Saturday even that much bigger. As you saw on the screen just a moment ago, we will continue our DIRTVision conversation at 10:45 a.m. tomorrow. Get you set up for Hard Knocks qualifying Saturday afternoon. It's day racing. And, of course, the granddaddy of them all, the feature tomorrow night for the 65th NOS Energy Drink Knoxville Nationals. Now it all comes clear. And on behalf of Tony Bachhoven, my esteemed colleagues, yes. Hold on, that means go to break. In fact, we're going to break this thing off for the day. That being said, thank you guys for joining us tonight. We look forward to seeing every one of you tomorrow here at the racetrack. And if you can't make it, you know you're home for the greatest shows on dirt. It's right here on DIRTVision. Until tomorrow, good night from Knoxville.
This has been a presentation of DIRTVision, a World Racing Group property. For information about upcoming broadcasts, follow us on social media, including Facebook, X, Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok. You can also watch more than 3,500 classic races and shows anytime at DIRTVision.com or the DIRTVision app.